Hello, curious minds. Welcome back to Enigmatic Echoes. I'm your host, Jazz, and tonight's story takes us somewhere that honestly doesn't need any help being creepy. Alaska. Think about it for a second. Endless forests, freezing temperatures, roads that stretch for miles without another human in sight. That's already a horror movie setting. So when locals say there's a ghostly woman who appears along certain roads, well, it doesn't exactly feel impossible. Tonight, we're talking about the legend of Scary Mary, a story that's been whispered in parts of Alaska for decades. And the unsettling part, people still claim to see her. So let me ask you something before we even start. If you were driving a dark road late at night and you saw someone standing alone on the side of the highway, would you stop? Or would you keep driving? Because according to this legend, stopping might be the last thing you want to do. Let's begin. Let's start with the setting, because Alaska isn't just big, it's massive. In many areas, you can drive for hours and barely see another car. Just forest, mountains, and miles of road cutting through wilderness. And places like that tend to create stories, especially when strange things happen and there aren't many witnesses. Local versions of the Scary Mary legend usually place her along isolated roads outside small communities, places where hunters, truck drivers, and late-night travelers might pass through, and that's where the sightings begin. Who was Mary? Well, now here's where the story splits into different versions, and this is pretty common with urban legends. No one fully agrees on who Mary was, but most versions share the same basic idea. Mary was once a real person, a young woman living in a remote settlement sometime in the early 1900s. Some say she worked at a roadhouse, basically a small lodge where travelers would stop and rest. Others say she lived in a cabin with family near one of the early road routes. But one night, Mary disappeared. And that's where things start to get unsettling, because nobody knows exactly what happened to her. Some versions say Mary got caught in a brutal winter storm, which in Alaska is not just dangerous, it's deadly. Others say she was walking along the road late one evening and never made it home. And there's an even darker version, one that suggests Mary may have been attacked or murdered along the road. But here's the key detail. Her body was never found. And if you know anything about folklore, that's usually the point where ghost stories begin. Now let's talk about the first sighting. So years pass. Life moves on. New roads are built. People come and go. And then one night, a driver reports something strange. A woman standing near the side of the road, completely still. He slows down, rolls down the window, asks if she needs help. But she doesn't answer. She just stands there, looking at him. And when he looks away for just a second, she's gone. Now, this is a truck driver story. Let's talk about one of the stories locals repeat the most. This one involves a truck driver sometime in the 1970s. He's driving late at night along a quiet stretch of road. No other vehicles, just his headlights cutting through darkness. And then he sees her, standing just off the road. He assumes she's someone stranded, so he slows down, pulls over, steps out of the truck and calls out, "Hey, are you all right?" But the woman doesn't respond. She just stares. And the driver said something about her face felt wrong. Not angry, not sad, just blank. When he blinks, and she's gone. No footsteps, no sound, just empty road. He reportedly refused to drive that route again. Why people call her Scary Mary? Now, you might be wondering, why the name Scary Mary? It's actually pretty simple. People started using it because every story about her ends the same way. Something about her presence feels unsettling. Witnesses say she never speaks, never asks for help, never moves like a normal person. She just appears and then disappears. Sometimes right in front of you. But the road sightings aren't the only ones. Hunters in Alaska spend long hours in quiet wilderness, and a few of them have reported seeing something strange deep in the trees. A woman standing between the trunks, watching. One hunter claimed he saw her from about 30 yards away. He assumed she was lost, so he started walking toward her, but as he got closer, she simply faded into the trees. No footsteps, no branches moving, just gone. Later, he said something that stuck with locals. He said, "I wasn't scared when I saw her. I got scared when I realized she was already watching me." Now, here's where the legend takes a turn that you might recognize, because many ghost stories involve hitchhikers, and Scary Mary is no exception. In this version, a driver sees a woman walking along the road. She looks cold, maybe even injured. So the driver stops, offers her a ride. She climbs into the back seat, but she never speaks. And after driving a few miles, the driver looks in the rearview mirror, and the seat is empty. No door open, no sound. She's just gone. Now here's one variation that locals say is the creepiest, because in this version, Mary doesn't disappear, she follows. Drivers claim they pass her on the road, but later see her again in their mirrors, walking behind the vehicle or standing further ahead along the road, almost as if distance doesn't matter. And honestly, that version gives me the chills. So, urban legends survive for a reason. They tap into something real, in this case, isolation. Driving alone, seeing something unexpected in the darkness. Our brains don't like uncertainty, so when strange things happen, stories form around them. And sometimes, those stories live longer than the people who first told them. So, is Scary Mary real? Probably not. But legends like this don't survive for decades unless something unusual happened at some point. Maybe someone really did vanish along that road. Maybe drivers really did see someone standing there late at night. Or maybe, when you're alone on a dark highway surrounded by miles of forest, your mind fills in the silence with something watching you. So here's the real question. If you're driving through Alaska late at night and you see someone standing alone on the roadside, what do you do? Because I'll be honest, my helpful instincts say stop and check on them, but my survival instinct says, respectfully, Mary's got this. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, don't forget to follow, share, and leave a review. And if you want to see the visuals and eerie artwork for the story, you can find them over on YouTube and Instagram at Enigmatic Echoes. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious on lonely roads. And if someone appears in your headlights in the middle of nowhere, maybe just keep driving. Good night.